Good evening. Welcome to Loveworld USA News. I'm Barbara Sam. First, a quick look at the top stories this evening. Senate Republicans advance budget blueprint for Trump agenda, sparking partisan clash. Dr. Oz confirmed as head of Medicare and Medicaid services in party line Senate vote. Judge weighs contempt ruling over deportation flights amid court order dispute. World War II veteran turning 104 invites Trump to birthday, shares secret to long life. Texas proposes $500 million boost to film industry amid economic growth push. And now to the news. Senate Republicans voted 52-48 on Thursday to advance debate on a sweeping budget resolution designed to fast-track President Trump's economic agenda. The proposal includes major tax cuts, increased military and immigration enforcement spending, and a $5 trillion debt limit hike, all likely to significantly rise the federal deficit. All Republicans but Senator Rand Paul supported the measure, while Democrats unanimously opposed it. The blueprint, backed by President Trump and Senate GOP leadership, paves the way for permanent extensions of the 2017 tax cuts, along with a $1.5 trillion in additional tax reductions, potentially including the president's proposal to eliminate taxes on tipped wages. It also proposes $175 billion in new immigration enforcement funding and a $150 billion increase in defense spending. Republicans intend to pass the final package using the budget reconciliation process, bypassing the Senate's 60-vote threshold and excluding Democrats from the final vote. Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, plan to offer amendments during the 50-hour debate window to highlight what they call a budget that benefits billionaires at the expense of working families. Senator Elizabeth Warren accused Republicans of promoting an economy that works for a handful of billionaires and lets everyone else eat dirt, end quote. The vote marked the first formal step in a process that could reshape federal tax and spending policy, with Democrats aiming to force Republicans into politically difficult votes, while the GOP pushes to deliver on Trump's promises of economic expansion and immigration control. The final Senate vote on the resolution is expected over the weekend. Let's take a look.
This resolution is the first step toward a final bill to make permanent the tax relief we implemented in 2017 and deliver a transformational investment in our border, national and energy security, all accompanied by substantial savings measures and common sense reforms to our government.
Some of the highlights of the resolution include earmarking roughly $175 billion for new border security, $150 billion in defense spending, raising the debt ceiling by $5 trillion, identifying at least $4 billion in government spending cuts, making 2017 tax cuts permanent using accounting that makes the cost $0. But Democratic leader Chuck Schumer accuses Republicans of fudging the tax numbers and adds it will create an economic disaster.
If they go through current policy baseline, it will increase the deficit on the United States by $30 trillion, virtually doubling it. And who's going to pay the price? Us, our children, our grandchildren.
Republicans who worked on the resolution disagree.
We're using what's called current policy so that we make sure that these tax cuts are permanent. That is vital, not only for investment long term, but you'll see more growth and more revenue, which actually helps close the deficit and debt.
Republicans add the increased funding for our military is critical to national security.
So being able to find another $150 billion to plus up our defense budget at a time when so much is required of us, I think it's a winning formula.
We need to get something good passed before Easter. I think the American people are getting restless. They want to see us deliver. We've done a lot of good things with a razor-thin majority, but, enough. It's time to deliver, and I think that.
The Senate on Thursday confirmed Dr. Oz as the new administrator for the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, known as CMS. placing the former heart surgeon and television personality in charge of nearly $1.5 trillion in federal health care spending. The vote, which fell along party lines, marks another high-profile appointment under President Donald Trump's second administration. As CMS Administrator, Dr. Oz will oversee Medicare and Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program known as CHIP, which together provide health care coverage for over 140 million Americans. This role will include making decisions about government reimbursement rates for hospitals and doctors, coverage of medical services and procedures, and broader health care policy implementation. Senate Finance Committee Chair Mike Crapo, who led Dr. Oz's nomination through committee, praised the commitment to healthcare innovation and modernization of chronic disease management. Oz, who lost a 2022 Senate race in Pennsylvania, faced scrutiny during the confirmation process over past political views, including financial holdings and his approach to conscientious healthcare topics such as Medicare, privatization, and prescription drug costs. He pledged to divest any conflicting investments. Oz's confirmation comes as the Trump administration's continue to shape its executive team, with key appointments still pending, including the next U.S. ambassador to United Nations and the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Watch this.
Now, Dr. Oz is now the head of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. In a 53-45 vote this afternoon, the Senate confirmed Dr. Mehmet Oz to be the next administrator of the department. He is now in charge of health care coverage for more than 160 million Americans through Medicare, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act health insurance exchanges.
District Judge James Bosberg has signaled that he may hold the Trump administration in contempt over its decision to deport Venezuelan nationals despite a court order temporarily halting removals under the 1798 Aliens Enemies Act. During a tense hearing, Bosberg questioned whether deportation flights carried out on March 15th were in violation of the court's emergency injunction, stating that the government's actions appear to have been taken in bad faith. The administration has defended the deportation, citing national security and asserting compliance with the court's order. However, government lawyers declined to disclose key details about the flights, including whether they took off after the injunction was issued. Deputy Assistant Attorney General Drew Ensign faced repeated inquiries about who knew what and when, including whether flight operations had begun before the court ruling was shared with relevant agencies. Bosberg pressed for transparency, asked Ensign to name officials who were informed about the order and whether any actions were taken prior to the ruling that could suggest prior planning. The judge openly questioned why unclassified information had not been shared, raising concern about the government's refusal to provide it under state secret protection. At one point, he described the government's response as pretty sketchy. The judge said he would issue a ruling on the potential contempt finding as early as next week. The hearing comes amid ongoing legal challenges to the administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act, which has drawn criticism from civil rights groups and sparked renowned debate over executive authority in immigration enforcement. Let's take a look.
Court battle continuing Thursday here in D.C. over the White House's deportation flights to El Salvador. Federal Judge James Bosberg pressing the administration for answers over whether it defied a court order when it deported hundreds of migrants to El Salvador last month. Deportation flights continued this week despite another district judge's order for them to stop. Trump has justified the removals with a more than 200-year-old law that allows non-citizens to be deported without a court proceeding. The hearing comes as the administration faces scrutiny over its immigration tactics. Last week, the Justice Department admitted it wrongly deported a Maryland man with protected legal status. The White House says they have no plans to return him to the U.S.
This was unquestionably an illegal alien. This was unquestionably a person who broke the laws to get into our country. This is unquestionably a person an immigration judge had found had zero right to be in the United States of America.
Attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia deny he has any gang ties and accuse the administration of acting recklessly and ignoring due process.
The news will be back after this break.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, American history. It's our Declaration of Economic Independence. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. We are finally putting America first. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. More production at home will mean stronger competition at lower prices. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart. This will be indeed the goal.
Welcome back. Denver Moore, a World War II veteran and proud Ohioan, is preparing to celebrate a major milestone, his 104th birthday. And this year, he's extending a special invitation to someone he calls his favorite president, Donald Trump. In a video posted on TikTok by a family member on March 23rd, Moore invited the president to his May 15th birthday party in Canal Fulton. President Trump, I'm going to be 104 in May, and I'm inviting you to my birthday party, he said. The clip went viral, racking up over 700,000 views and sparking responses from well-wishers across the U.S. and even from Africa. It's been quite a ride, Moore told Fox News Digital. Moore, who served in the U.S. Army Air Corps during World War II, remains mentally sharp and physically active. He credits his longevity to a life of movement and hard work, carrying mail for 20 years and growing up on a farm. If we didn't have anything to do, we created something, he said. His second piece of advice for a long, fulfilling life: marry the right woman and live with her all of her life. He was married to his late wife, Thelma Lee, for 75 years until her passing in 2022. Now living at Danbury Senior Living in Malison, Moore continues to impress his family and caregivers with his vitality, even demonstrating his ability to recite the alphabet backwards. As he gears up for his big day, a Chick-fil-A catered celebration is planned at the Sam Center, and a parade is set to be held in his honor. Whether Trump accepts the invitation or not, Moore's story has already inspired thousands across the country. Watch this.
My name is Denver Moore, and I'm going to be 104 in May. And I'm inviting you to my birthday party.
Texas lawmakers are advancing a bipartisan bill that would allocate $500 million toward boosting the state's film and television industry, positioning Texas as a growing rival to Hollywood. The move comes as state leaders aim to attract major production and create new job opportunities amid a broader effort to diversify Texas' economic portfolio. Actors Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson recently appeared before the Texas legislature to support the bill, citing its potential to generate long-term economic development. Advocates argue that investment in film infrastructure will not only stimulate local economies, but also offer a competitive alternative to traditional entertainment hubs like California and Georgia. The proposed funding reflects a shift in Texas strategy, leveraging pro-business conditions cultivated over the past several years. Supporters of the bill note that the state's low income tax environment, light regulatory framework, and existing production incentives make it an increasingly attractive destination for film and television projects. Under prior federal policies favoring deregulation and domestic investment, Texas experienced strong growth in sectors such as energy, manufacturing, and technology. Now, policymakers are seeking to apply that momentum to the creative economy. Lawmakers say the bill is not just about bringing film sets to Texas, it's about building a sustainable ecosystem of jobs, services, and infrastructure that can support year-round production. Film industry supporters also highlight the potential cultural and tourism benefits of expanding Texas-based media projects. If passed, the legislation would mark one of the biggest state-level commitments to film production in the country. Industry analysts say the funding, combined with Texas' existing advantages, could significantly shift production away from traditional entertainment centers, reinforcing the state's growing reputation as a top destination for business, innovation, and now storytelling. Let's take a look.
Monday, Houston Republican Joan Huffman pitched legislation to revamp the program.
For every dollar paid in a grant, $4.69 is spent in state, according to the Office of the Governor.
SB 22 pumps in $500 million every 2 years into the new Texas Moving Image Incentive Program. The grant money comes with several strings attached, which includes a bonus for using rural areas.
It further codifies a list of projects that are currently not eligible for reimbursement grants to include pornography or obscene material, political advertising, casino-type video games, and more.
The hearing featured a unique cast of supporting characters, like Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He made SB 22 a priority, and he was joined by actors Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. Earlier this year, the two teamed up with fellow Texan Dennis Quaid in this promotional movie trailer for the incentive program.
A renaissance, a rebirth. How about a wholesale takeover?
Yeah. Small fraction of Texas budget surplus could turn this state into the new Hollywood.
In the committee hearing, this Texas story pitch came with a plot twist when McConaughey testified.
So I'm going to propose a bigger thought here. I'm going to propose doubling down on, if we pass this bill, what we can do. How do we do that? Number one, we train our own workforce. We partner with local community colleges and tech schools across the state of Texas, and we get Texan men and women trained and certified to learn the below-the-line trade jobs needed to make films.
McConaughey told lawmakers that local communities could be prepared in the way that job programs are done for more traditional industries.
We have a real pipeline. We have infrastructure. We have wood screws, not Velcro.
Doing that, McConaughey suggested, would make Texas a permanent supporting cast member, exceeding what's being done by states like Georgia and New Mexico.
This is how Texas becomes its own profitable and self-sustaining industry. This is how Texas becomes more than just a destination for out-of-state productions. This is how Texas becomes more than just a tax-incentivized advertisement. Hey, come shoot here. If we do this, we begin to create our own industry. We do this, we start to create our own pipeline of film and television, which in turn means producers and financiers are not going to want to go to other states because they don't have the infrastructure that we'll have, and they're too expensive.
The U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, announced a major initiative to repurpose 16 federal sites for the development of artificial intelligence, AI data centers, and co-located energy infrastructures. The plan is part of a sweeping national strategy to secure U.S. leadership in AI while expanding domestic energy capabilities. These sites, strategically located across the country, were selected for the proxy to existing energy infrastructure and potential for rapid permitting, particularly for advanced energy generation, including nuclear power. the DOE released a request for information, known as an RFI, to gather input from industry stakeholders, data center operators, and energy developers on optimal design, technologies, and financing models for the project. The goal is to begin construction in 2027. This is the next Manhattan project, said Energy Secretary Chris Wright. Under President Trump's leadership, we're harnessing our national laboratories, energy infrastructure, and innovation capacity to power AI revolution, while keeping energy reliable, secure, and affordable for all Americans. The initiative reflects broader Trump-era policies that aim to streamline government processes, encouraging domestic innovation and reduce dependence on foreign technology and energy. It also seeks to address the growing power demands of AI development, which require massive computational resources and energy-intensive infrastructure, which companies like Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft expanding their AI operations. The U.S. faces a projected 55% increase in power demand over the next 20 years. The DOE's plan to use federal land for AI-ready energy hubs is seen as a critical step to meet that demand, support national security, and maintain America's competitive edge in emerging technologies. The news continue after this break. Stay with us.
The countdown to the Lord's soon return has begun, and in this first quarter of the year of completeness, Loveworld USA has indeed been spreading and preaching the gospel of our Lord Jesus, preparing the hearts of billions around the world to expect the Lord.
Year, we will complete the full preaching of the gospel in all nations.
Loveworld USA broadcasted life-changing programs with our man of God. Global Communion Service, Your Loveworld Specials, Global Day of Prayer, Healing Streams. Loveworld News, where we emphasize truth and deception. Truth Watch USA, where Americans are exposed to the truth. Topics such as the failed agenda of so-called globalists, what's really happening to your food, President Trump, a sign to the church. Prayer programs where effective prayers were offered. Tremendous Power, Pray for America. Faith-filled programs like I'm Just Saying, Pastor Chris Worth reading, Stick to the Word, programs with Pastor Benny, and many more. We say thank you, dearest partners, for contributing towards our programming and daily operations through your partnership. Loveworld USA is positioned for a massive harvest of souls all around the world as we set our sail to reach more people in this second quarter, in more languages, and change more lives. This is a call to our dearest partners all over the world to join this mandate in completing the full preaching of the gospel to all nations as you sponsor our 2025 projects. 1. Pastor Chris in 1 Billion Homes Project. Ensure the spread of the message of the man of God through Loveworld USA. The spread of our ministry programs and agenda through satellite, cable, internet, digital, mobile apps, Alpha TV, OTT platforms, our news, and our current affairs. 2. Minutes to Reach Billions 4.0. Make your every minute count for the gospel as we spread the awareness of Loveworld USA to your world. 3. Translation of our language-specific channels. Make it possible for billions around the world to watch our programs in their native language. 4. Tag your name to a program. Sponsor and tag your name to our various Loveworld USA programs. You can adopt a specific program. 5. Studio upgrade. Join us today with your lavish gift to the work of Loveworld USA. Every SPs or dollar you give goes to accomplishing our mandate to fully preach the gospel with our life-transforming content. For more information, please call the number showing on your screen. God bless you.
Welcome back. Indonesia's Mount Liwotobi Laka-Laka volcano erupted 3 times into Friday, sending a towering column of ash of 8,000 meters which is 26,000 feet into the air and prompting authorities to raise the alert status to its highest level. The volcano, located on the remote island of Flores in East Nusa Tenggara Province, has been increasingly active, with hundreds of earthquakes recorded and signals of intensified volcanic activity in recent days. Loud explosions from Thursday evening's eruption were heard as far away as Larantuku and Manumur cities, up to 85 kilometers or 53 miles from the volcano. 2 additional eruptions and smaller volcanic activity were recorded on Friday, with thick gray smoke and glowing firelight visible from the crater, indicating lava nearing the surface. Ashfall has blanketed nearby streets and plantations, forcing residents to clear debris using shovels and hoses. In response to the increased threat, Indonesia's geology agency extended the danger zone radius from 7 to 8 kilometers, that's about 5 miles from the volcano's crater. Although no immediate evacuations have been ordered, residents are being told to stay alert, especially with the risk of lava flows increasing due to heavy rain. The volcanic activity has disrupted regional travel, causing several airlines to cancel flights between Australia and Bali, while others face delays. Mount Liwatobi Laka last erupted lethally in November, killing 9 people. It is one of 120 active volcanoes in Indonesia, which lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire and frequently experiences earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has revealed that his centrist Civil Platform Party had been targeted in a cyber attack, just weeks ahead of the country's presidential election. Tusk suggested that the breach may have originated from Eastern actors, implying referencing Russia and Bulgaria. Taking to social media platform X, Tusk wrote, "Foreign interference in elections begins. Services point to Eastern Trace following the attack, which reportedly attempted to seize control of the computers of party employees and campaign staffers over the period of several hours." Jan Gerbeck, head of the Prime Minister's office, confirmed the incident, telling Polish state news agencies PAP that similar cyber intrusions in the past had been linked to Bolarian's operation believed to act on behalf of Russian intelligence. He declined to directly accuse either country, deferring to Poland's security services for official attribution. The cyber attack comes just ahead of Poland's first round of presidential voting on May 18th. Warsaw Mayor Rafał Tarzovic, the Civic Platform candidate and a pro-EU centrist, currently leads the race with around 35% support in recent polls. His main rivals include Law and Justice Party-backed conservative Karol Norvik and far-right Confederation Party co-leader Sławomir Menczel, both polling near 20%. If no candidate secures a majority in the first round, a runoff will be held on June 1st. The incident has heightened concerns about foreign election interference in a key EU and NATO member state, aimed at escalating regional tensions. And just before we end the news, a quick look at tomorrow's weather forecast. And to end the news today, a quick recap of the headlines. Senate Republicans advance budget blueprint for Trump's agenda, sparking partisan clash. Dr. Oz confirmed as head of Medicare and Medicaid services in party-line Senate vote. Judge weighs contempt ruling over deportation flights amid court order dispute. World War II veteran turning 104 invites President Trump to birthday, shares secret to long life. Texas proposes $500 million boost to film industry amid economic growth push. And that's the news for today. Join us at the same time tomorrow for more news. I'm Barbara Sam. Good night and God bless you.